JinPingMei Original Version Chapter 7 Part 1 Matchmaker Xue talks about marrying Meng. It is said that in Simon King's family, Xue's sister-in-law, who was selling green flowers, was carrying a flower box and couldn't find Simon King in the field because, seeing Simon King's personal envoy Diana, he asked, "Where are the officials?" Diane said, "My father is in the shop." Zilly settled accounts with Uncle Fu. It turns out that Simon King's family opened a pharmacy store, and the manager's surname was Fu Mingming, also named Sixen, ranking second in the family. So he was called Second Uncle Fu. After hearing this, Mrs. Xue walked to the front of the shop, opened the curtain, and saw Simon King Zheng and supervisor settled the accounts. Nodded and called him out. When Simon King saw that it was Mrs. Xue, he quickly left his supervisor and came out. "Walk in a quiet place and talk," Simon King asked. "What do you have to say?" Sister-in-law Xue said. "I have a marriage matter to tell you." The official said, "What if you support the dead Sanyang's nest just because of your old man's wishes?" Simon King said, "You and which family does this marriage belong to?" Sister-in-law Xue said, "This lady, you, the old man, also know that this is the South Gate. The head lady of the buying family, a foreign merchant. I have a good penny in my hand. There are also taboo beds in Nanjing, clothes for all seasons, can't be inserted when I start. There are 4 or 5 boxes. Needless to say, I have gold bracelets and silver coins. And I also have thousands of taels of silver in my hand. How sensual yi. There are 3 to 200 tubes." Unexpectedly, the man went to sell cloth and died outside. He has been a widow for more than a year and has no children by his side. There is only one brother-in-law, who is only 10 years old. When you are young, why should you guard him? There is a direct relative girl from his family who wants to advocate. He marries. This lady is no more than 25 or 6 years old this year. She has a long figure and looks like a character. When she dresses, she looks like a lambman. It goes without saying that he is charming and handsome. He is smart and smart. He is the leader of the family. He points out the female workers, and he is a chess piece. Don't hide it from high officials. People say that his maiden name is Meng, and he is the 3rd eldest sister. He lives in Shushui Lane. He also knows how to play the yukon well if a high official sees him. Guan King is on the stack with 1 arrow. Simon King heard that the woman could play the yukon, so he fell in love with him. So he asked sister-in-law Xue. The mother-in-law was originally married to Sun Yaotu, who lived in eunuch Xue's house on Bambian Street in the north. She died with her head tilted. This woman has been a widow for 30 or 40 years. In 2001, there were no flowers, either male or female, and they only relied on nieces and nephews to support them. The high official just fell on him and begged him. What this woman loves is regarding money. He knew clearly that his nephew and wife had something, but he didn't care about asking anyone. He only expected a few taels of silver. "High official, I have a lot of jokes at home. Take some of them, buy a load of gifts, go see him in person tomorrow, and give him a few taels of silver. Knock him down with 1 punch." I asked someone next to me to talk, and the old lady insisted on it. Who dared to do anything? What Mrs. Xue said. Simon King made an appointment with Mrs. Xue that day. Tomorrow was a good date, so he bought gifts and went to his girl's house. Mrs. Xue finished speaking. Then, he carried the flower box and went. Simon King came in to settle accounts with Fu Gai. One night is not a problem. Xue's sister-in-law went in first to inform the girl and said, "There is a rich man nearby who wants to marry the eldest lady." I said that only the aunt in the family. "You are the elder. Let me meet you face to face first. See you in person, talk to you, and then dare to go and see each other outside the door. My little daughter-in-law received it today. Come and see me waiting at the door." When the mother-in-law heard this, she said, Baoshen, why didn't you say something first?" 1. After paying for the meal, the maid paused to drink some tea and said, "Please." Sister-in-law Xue encouraged her and first carried the box and set it down. Sent the empty box load out, and invited Simon King to come in and meet him. This Simon King wore a big hat with a hemlock on his head. and he just screamed, "Girl, please accept the gift." After giving in for a long time, the mother-in-law accepted the gift. The guests and hosts sat down, with Mrs. Xue standing next to them. There is no one to be the leader, Ji's wife. I can smell it. The eldest lady outside my house is getting married, so I came here to talk to my aunt about the marriage, the mother-in-law said. The official said that I am my nephew's daughter-in-law. Wife, you are just here to talk because you are sick. Why bother to buy gifts that will make me feel disrespectful and unworthy of receiving them, Simon King? He said, "Girl, I don't have any gifts, so I'm scared." The woman bowed twice and thanked her, received the gifts, and took the tea is served. After eating, the mother-in-law said, "I am a coward without saying anything. My nephew made a penny when he was here, and fortunately died first. And now everything is in his hands. He probably has thousands of tales of things. I don't want officials to be small or big." When he got married, on his birthday, the officials let him come and go, thinking that he was a poor relative of mine. "Not as poor as you," Simon King smiled and said, "Don't worry, old man. I know everything you said. As long as you, the old man, insist on it, it's decided, let alone one coffin. Even 10 coffins can be afforded by a villain." With that said, he asked the boy to get the worship box, took out 6 ingots and 30 taels of snowflake official silver, put them in front of him, and said, "This is nothing. Buy it with your old man first. Have a cup of tea, and when you get married tomorrow, I will return you 70 taels of silver and 2 bolts of satin, as a final gift to your old man." Since ancient times, I have to break things first and then stop them, and Xue interjected from the side, said, "You old man is so worried. You are so careless. I am not such a high-ranking official. I just have to carry the box. Son recognizes his relatives. You old man doesn't know. But now the magistrates, and ministers are all visiting each other, so it's very good all over the world. You old man can eat him how many?" The mother-in-law was pissed off after talking. After 2 courses of tea, Simon King was about to get up, but the mother-in-law couldn't hold her back. "Simon Xue, quit and get up," the mother-in-law said. "I didn't know that the high-ranking officials were going down. I was in a hurry and didn't make preparations. Don't blame me for leaving the officials empty, abducted and given away." After 2 steps, Simon King went back. Mrs. Xue sent Simon King to mount the horse because she said, "What I advocate. Does it make sense? You old man, please go back first. I'm still here to have a word with him. You must go out early tomorrow. West." Meng King then took out a tael of silver and made donkey money with Mrs. Xue. Sister-in-law Xue took it, and Simon King went to Ma Lai's house. He is still there. They talked and drank at Miss Yang's house, and didn't go home until sunset. Stop talking nonsense. On the next day, Simon Qingde was dressed neatly, with sleeves tied on, and he was riding a white horse. And 2 young men followed, and Xue's sister-in-law came out of the south gate on a donkey. Not long after, they arrived at the head of the young family, but it is sitting in a gatehouse facing south and north, with a pink and green screen wall. Mrs. Xue asked Simon King to get off his horse and go in with him. Inside, the instrument door shines on the wall, with bamboo. Inside, after a while, he came out and said in Simon King's ear, "Madam, you haven't finished dressing up yet. Please sit down for a moment." Seeing a boy taking out a cup of furin to make tea, Simon King ate it. Mrs. Xue was gesticulating and talking to Simon King. "Apart from that girl, this lady is the eldest in the family. Even though he has his brother-in-law, he is still young and doesn't know much about it. Reason: he has 2 girls and a boy under his command. The eldest girl was 15 years old. She hung her head and went away. Her name was Langshang Xiaoya. The first one is named Xiaoluan, and he is only 12 years old. Come with him tomorrow when he passes by. I arranged this marriage for you, old man," and pointed out, "I want to live in 2 rooms in Vangdian." Simon King said, "It doesn't matter." Sister-in-law Xue said, "Your old man bought spring plums last year. Promise me a few pieces of big cloth, but you haven't given it to me yet. I won't care until tomorrow." Just thank you. Just as he was talking, a girl was sent to call Mrs. Xue. Not long after, I heard the tinkling sound of ring pendants, the fragrance of orchid and mustair, Mrs. Xue. A little numb. She is naturally beautiful. Her skirt reveals a pair of small feet. Zhou is pitiful. The fragrance of flowers grows wherever you walk. Sit down, time is full of beauty. Simon said. King said, the villain has wasted his 28 years. Unfortunately, his wife has been dead for more than a year. I dare not ask, how young is my wife? The woman said, my family is 30 years old. Simon King said, it turns out that I am 2 years older. Sister-in-law Xue interjected, when my wife is 2 years old, her golden days will grow longer. When my wife is 3 years old, my gold will accumulate like a mountain. As he said this, the little maid took out 3 cups of candied fruit. Just half fork, sharp-tipped Zukiao with golden lotus feet, wearing a pair of red high and low shoes with gold cloud heads and white silk all over. Simon King saw it and was filled with joy. The woman took a second cup of tea and handed it to Mrs. Xue. He helped himself to a cup and sat with him. Had tea. Simon King asked Diane to present a brocade handkerchiefs, a pair of precious hairpins, and 6 gold rings in a square box, and put them on a tray and sent them over. Go, sister-in-law Xue asked the woman to thank her. When he asked the official about the date of the ceremony, he said, I can make preparations here, Simon King said. The woman said, it's good that it's a girl who says it like this. Sister-in-law Xue said, what a great lady. Why don't I dare to do this as a matchmaker? Lie. After speaking, Simon King made a speech and stood up. Sister-in-law Xue walked out of the alley and said to Simon King, how do you feel after seeing this lady? Simon King said, Sister-in-law Xue, I'm actually tired of you. Sister-in-law Xue said, you old man, please go first. I'll just have a word with the eldest lady. Come. Simon King rode into the city. Mrs. Xue turned to the woman and said, Madam, you may as well marry this official. The woman said, but I wonder if there is anyone in the room. What kind of physiology do you see? Sister-in-law Xue said, good grandma, just. There is someone in the room. Who is the brain? I said it was a lie. You can see it in the past. Who knows his name? Dao, one of the richest men in King County, was famous for selling herbal medicines to pay off official debts to Simon King, a high-ranking official. The magistrates and prefects are all with him, coming and going. Recently, I got married to Admiral Young from Tokyo. They're both from the same family. Who dares to mess with him? The woman ranges wine and dinner. I was eating with Ansu when I saw a boy from his girl's family, and Tong. There were 4 pieces of yellow rice flour and jujube cakes, 2 pieces of jujube cake in the box. Now it's settled, sister-in-law Xue said. God. The son is scheduled to perform the ceremony on the 24th, and is allowed to marry on the 2nd day of the lunar month. The boy has gone, sister-in-law Xue said. What did my aunt's family send me? What? With me. We arranged for the children to eat at home. The woman gave him a piece of candy in 10 mugworts, and then she went out. In words.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.